So you're finding rock stars in this arena that are doing it well, and then what? You're going out to your client base and helping them replicate that success and helping them develop some of these strategies?
Well, Stone, I divide my time between, a couple of things. And one of them is as a tech entrepreneur, I've developing and launching my own technology business. In fact, today, the open beta for my newest startup, Spitter.com, is launching.
That's what I want to talk about.
So Spitter.com, we'll get to that in a minute. I figure most people are less interested in the in Spitter. Unless they're sports fans. But Spitter.com, think of it as kind of like a great place for sports fans to be able to get all the news and all the fan discussion that's there's so much of it. It's so spread out over the web. We aggregate that into one easy-to-scan page stream. So think of it a little bit like sports, maybe a little bit like Twitter. That's Spitter. But it's an open beta starting today, Spitter.com. Great
I
place
figured
for
it was
sports
just
fans.
solely dedicated to baseball when he said Spitter. I didn't know.
Yeah. But you know what? The other part of what I do, I divide my time between that and I work with select high technology startups, particularly high potential startups. I've worked with companies like Zazzle, Kleiner Perkins company out in the Bay Area, Ustream.tv, which is kind of like YouTube, except it's all about live streaming video. Great group of people over at Ustream. And Chris Klaus here in Atlanta, a great local entrepreneur with 3D Virtual World Caneva. I'm really impressed with what Caneva is doing, and Chris is a outstanding entrepreneur. But I also work with them in some ways with customer experience. But my focus on customer experience is really about, I think, learning best practices and going out and putting them into play in my own businesses. And you mentioned social media before. Social media, and you also mentioned Zappos. Tony Hsieh, the CEO of Zappos, he's actively on Zappos. He did something on Twitter. So you guys are all on Twitter, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
And out there in Radioland, if you're not on Twitter, really check it out. It sounds like the dumbest thing. I thought it was the dumbest thing I had ever heard of when I heard about it. Like, why would you want to tweet about what you're doing? But it turns out it's a ultra powerful way to connect with people. And to Jack Welch, the CEO of or former CEO of General Electric, I mean, even he's on Twitter, and he said something, Twitter makes me smarter. Well, I've got a lot of respect for Jack Welch, and when Jack Welch says Twitter makes me smarter, I mean, I think there's something there.
Well, the cool thing about Twitter is that people like you and I can connect with Tony Hsieh.
Yeah, and it is.
He's active. He's very engaged in Twitter.
And not only can you connect with him, but Tony Hsieh, how cool is this in terms of customer experience? He goes out there on Twitter and he says, this is like last year sometime, and he says, hey, if you're a Zappos fan and you're going to be in Las Vegas any time over this weekend, that's where their company's headquartered, we're having our company picnic on Sunday, and we'd love for you to come by to our company picnic. Now, how amazing is this?
That rocks.
If you're a fan of the company and the CEO says, if you're going to be here, come to our company picnic. I mean, this is just like unprecedented.
It might be the coolest office working environment I've ever experienced or ever seen. If you've ever got a chance to get online and see digital pictures of the Zappos headquarters in Las Vegas, it's a pretty amazing place. Talk about building happiness. It's a fun place to be.
Not only can you see it online, but Tony makes this promise. If you come out to Las Vegas and you're out there, get in touch with them. They'll take you on a tour. They'll even pick you up at your hotel and bring you there. Like this is a company that's dedicated to building great relationships with their customers. And I read that Jeff Bezos said he was so impressed with Zappos and how they do things, and that's one of the things that he liked a lot. So what do I think about that purchase from Amazon? I think it was about $800 million roughly. I think that's a great combination of companies, and I'm a big fan of both companies.
Okay, so how does the guy with the little $3 million consulting firm that really buys into that whole approach, what kinds of things does he do to replicate or she do to replicate that same type of practice that you see with the Amazons and the Zappos?
I think it's looking at each point of interaction that you have with your customers and looking at it from the customer experience. I'll give you an example. So Cold Stone Creamery, and this is how I ended up talking with Dan Beam, the president of Cold Stone, last week, is I'm just like, as I see things go right, I'm interested in understanding that and replicating it. As I see things go wrong, I'm interested in understanding what things led to those things going wrong so we can learn from that and maybe avoid them. And so it was my birthday a couple of weeks ago, and there's this one ice cream from Cold Stone that I just love. It's a creation called Mud Pie Mojo. And I'll tell you what,
sounds good.
I just love this Mud Pie Mojo.
Sounds so good for you too.
Oh, I'm sure that it is. And those folks on there who know me know that I eat a lot of organic salads and I eat pretty healthy, but I've got a weakness for this Cold Stone Mud Pie Mojo. So all day long, on my birthday no less, I'm thinking of what? That Mud Pie Mojo. And I'm just like, I can't wait to get in there. I looked up online on coldstonecreamery.com to see for the store near me what time are they open till. They're open till 10. So at least according to the website. I show up at 9:30, and the door to the store is locked. I reach out, pull the handle. I tried a couple of times. Tried it again a couple of times. It's still locked. And it's still locked. And can you imagine the look on my face? And of course, the people at the Cold Stone Creamery employees are in there like closing up are like, no, we don't want to like open the doors. And so, this is part of the customer experience. It's not just when you're in the store, not just when you're getting ice cream in this case, but it's really the whole end-to-end customer experience. And, you really don't, if you look at that wow factor from Zappos that they're trying to have or from Amazon, you really don't want to be disappointing customers like that, particularly not on their birthdays. And, on your birthday, you
Right.
can spend your birthday with just, anywhere. And so out of the infinite number of places I could have spent my birthday, I decided to spend it with Cold Stone Creamery to get my Mud Pie Mojo. So I had a good conversation with Dan Beam about this, and some lessons learned from this is Dan Beam, president of Cold Stone nationally, he has a vision for the customer experience that's dramatically different than that. And I think what we see there is one of the things that could go wrong is the classic example of the executive and the executive team that has a vision for things being one way, but then the execution of that plan either being a lot different or a wide variation. And it goes to show that it's important, it's critically important to be able to have the communication channels open so that you understand when things go wrong so that you can make them right. And in these cases, I thought, I'm going on this radio show with Stone talking about customer experience. Let's try this out. Let's see if it happens like Amazon or not, just as an experiment. And what can I learn from this that I can go back and apply for my own businesses? And so here's what I found. Is he said that so Dan said that they have 3 lines of defenses or three pillars. The first thing is the person who's at the front line, the person who's the staff person making ice cream. They should be able to solve any problem and make things right on the spot. If that doesn't happen, then the store manager or the franchise owner should be able to handle things and turn things around on the spot. And they want you to have a wow experience, not a what happened experience. And the third line of defense is they have a national 800 number, and you can call into that, and they should be able to solve things and turn things around on the spot. And my experience in this case is none of those 3 worked. All 3 of them failed. So again, further disconnect between, I think, their vision and how they really the actual execution. But having spent a lot of time with the folks from Cold Stone over the past week at an executive level to talk with them more about this and seek to understand how things are going with that, I have no doubt in my mind that they are absolutely committed to changing the execution of their plan. And that's impressive. And I have a lot of good things to say about the folks from Stolcone at the executive level and the focus they're having. So what can we do as entrepreneurs? I think it's put yourself in the shoes of the customer. And what does the customer really want? They're looking for that happiness in a box, the happiness in an ice cream cone. How can you make them, how can you set them up for success? And I read this recently. I thought this was great. I wrote this down and highlighted it in yellow. I'd recommend that you write this down and highlight it in yellow yourself. Put it somewhere you can see it.
We're going to record it.
Outstanding. So people don't always remember what you say to them, but they almost always remember how you made them feel. So again, people don't always remember what you say to them. They don't always remember what you do, but they almost always remember how you feel. So how do you want your customers to feel before, during, and after their interactions with you? I'd say start with that, and then design everything in your execution to make that happen, and then have some methods in place so that you can know if that's on target or not on target,